Of course, when you see a new Train World box, you know we've made probably another poor financial decision, but you only live once. So in here is the latest Lionel E8s, and we didn't go with the basic boy New York Central Green. Let's check it out this time on Gizmo Trains. So before I get too much hate in the comments or, whatever, originally I did plan to get the New York Central E8s. I do think they are a pretty nice color. I mean, with that kind of green, it definitely pops, but the more I thought about it, it was just a little bit much, maybe. I'm definitely no stranger to fantasy schemes. I definitely love color on the layouts, but the more I thought about it, they're just going to be everywhere. I've already seen 3 or 4 videos pop up with the green New York Centrals, and originally I was going to get those, but again, the more I thought, I was like, I just don't think it's for me. I don't want to just get the same old thing everybody else has. But I don't have any E8s in the collection, so I definitely didn't want to miss the opportunity for the latest that Lionel released. So when Lionel announced these in the 2023 Volume 1 catalog, they offered a few different paint schemes. They had the Amtraks, the Southern Pacifics, Aberdeen, Carolina, and Western, along with a Christmas version of it that probably has, I'm sure, some kind of Christmas sounds, maybe. I'm not sure. We'll see who grabs those. I think RBP got the Christmas version of it, but they also offered the Southern. And in case you haven't noticed, I do a bit of collecting with the Southern Railroad. I have quite a few different engines and cars, obviously, because being in North Carolina, it's kind of what started here. And Lionel in the past has done quite a few different Southern engines, especially I think E7s, E8s, things like that. But what was different about these is they decided to do the kind of what they called tuxedo paint scheme in that black color. So the more I thought about it, decided, you know what? I think that's what I want. Something a little more classy, something a little more low-key, and also being that I always wanted the Norfolk Southern E7 sets, but the prices on those have just gotten unreal with the collectability of them for the Norfolk Southern office train. Of course, they did sell those to Aberdeen, Carolina, as well as a set of those to the Reading and Northern Railroad originally, and Lionel just recently did those last year. And of course, I do have those beautiful engines on the shelf back here. But with the E8s, again, I saw that color scheme. The more I thought about it, I'd really love to have that kind of black and white kind of tuxedo look to the Railroad. And so here we are. It's the first time I'm opening it. I haven't really seen anything online as far as any of these other than the renderings. So it's the first time I'm seeing it as well. So let's check it out. And right off the bat, they look great. Oh, hefty for sure. Look at that, guys. So this is kind of a matte black, it looks like. Obviously, Norfolk Southern was a bit of a gloss, but overall, they are very sharp. And again, Southern is known for that green paint scheme, but they did some here in this tuxedo black, and I think they look absolutely gorgeous in that scheme. Definitely something a bit different. So we'll power this up on the layout. We'll bring out the second unit. The one thing I wasn't really crazy about with these E8s is the fact that Lionel didn't add sound to the second unit. I feel like they kind of shorted us all on that a little bit. I would have loved to have this in a super bass. Yes, probably would have been a few dollars more, but if you're spending the money you are on this set, I would have happily spent another $100, $200 on the super bass unit to really have that deep bass sound, because they did it with the Aberdeen, Carolina, the F7s they brought out, and you can really tell the difference on layout with that. Now both units have smoke, and they're both powered, which is great, but man, I think really Lionel missed one, because obviously they're both the same size. They could have fit that sound in there. So it is what it is, but we'll listen and see how it sounds when it goes around. All right, guys, so here we have them both on the track. Initial impressions, you know, details are not crazy over the top. Obviously some good riveting. We do have some separately applied handrails here. Up top, we have some various steam units, fans and whatnot. Nothing jumping out. Of course, I know they're diesels and they typically are a little bit streamlined. But the paint quality looks great. Again, I am happy I kind of went with the more subtle tuxedo scheme for this set versus the New York Central, as I said. Aberdeen, Carolina, I'm sure would be cool, but I already have the F7s. So overall, first impressions, I do like the scheme. Details are okay. These do have opening doors for the front and middle. The trailing and leading locomotive are very similar in the details. They're almost identical. There is one slight difference that I did notice. Just looking at the front at the leading unit, we have this headlight kind of blank or block off here on the front. Trailing unit doesn't have that. So two different bodies, kind of an interesting detail. Quick look at that trailing unit. Again, that headlight blink is not there. Otherwise, pretty identical. Up top, not too much to write home about. Some of the fans, detail is pretty decent. We do have the standard Lionel access panel for your programming switches. Otherwise, again, pretty standard E7, E8 kind of layout. Nothing too much here to point out as being anything super crazy. One thing I did notice here at the back, the diaphragms are spring-loaded. In case maybe some tight curves, but there's quite a bit of gap here, so I'm not really sure when that would be a problem, those touching. But nonetheless, they're there. All right, now we had a quick look around the locomotive. Let's fire it up, listen to some sound, see some lights, a little bit of movement.
Engine, this is the tower. Start her up, stand by for track orders. Over. Copy that. We'll start her up. Out. Got a lot of tonnage today. Better bunch in some slack before we start out. Dispatch, this is the engine. Ready to roll. Can I pull? Over. Please hold. Getting your route line now. Dispatch out. Guard office. Air is made. Brake test complete. Are we clear to pull? Over. You're cleared outbound. Out.
So one thing that I was a little disappointed on, I was hoping this set would have the Mars light up front, the little pulsing light. I always thought those were super cool, but hey, it is what it is. The headlight does obviously get brighter as you go to move forwards, dims as we're sitting and waiting. Also, if we go to reverse, the marker lights come on, indicating it's a rear unit. And the trailing unit does the same whenever you switch directions. What the fuck? Well, guys, it's not always rainbows and sunshine on the layout. Trying to run this set around, I did discover something, and it's not just this set. I have had this on other sort of AB units or AAs or whatever. You have a leading and trailing, and both are powered. Sometimes I've had some issues where, as we come across to a switch here, depending on how this unit is loaded up with the couplers and all, it can come along here and all of a sudden catch and derail. Now, what I'm finding is, I'm going to try to see if I can zoom in here and do my best to show you exactly what I see. Now, pay attention to the roller down below. And as I, kind of lost that in focus, but as I come along here, and if it's preloaded to one side, you'll actually see that roller drop down, what it just did right there. And what happens is it's getting caught in that inner rail. And so as it comes further along the switch, boom, pulls that truck right over, shorts out, and playtime is over. So what I'm finding that I have to do, and I've made a couple small repairs already, quick down and dirty, is this little popsicle stick piece that I made. And what I'm doing is basically using this to fill in the gap here or extend this center rail. And wood, for what we're using it for in intents and purposes, won't be conductive, so you don't have to worry about shorting anything out. But I'll glue it right here. What that allows it to do is extends this center rail so that roller pickup can have more distance to be supported before we come to this other rail to be supported until it transitions over and hits this next power segment. So I'm going to glue that real quick and then we'll see what happens. All right, I got the camera set back here as I put a little bit of pressure in that direction, just as it was. So as I pull this along with the reset camera, you can see that center roller as it comes into view, and this time it doesn't drop off, which is what I want, which is perfect. So hopefully we won't have any other issues, and we have that extra support where the roller can't fall in that gap and cause a derailment. So now that we got that fixed, let's check this bad boy out again.
Dispatcher here. You're cleared onto the main. Take the green. Over. Thank you much. Cleared outbound. Out. Dispatch, this is the engine. Clear signal in the cab. We're underway. Over. Roger that. All clear to move on to the lead. Dispatch out. Tower, I'm stocked. I'll let you know when I'm rolling. Out. Dispatch, this is the engine. Binders applied. We're off to sign the register book. Out.
All right, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed looking at a set of E8s that were not green. I know that I did. I really enjoy having a more subtle set of locomotives, this black and white scheme. I know a lot I do come off and say that I do like the fantasy schemes, which I do have a bunch of them. But it's nice to have something a little more subtle. Hopefully we see some more of the paint schemes come out. Be cool to see the Amtrak one with the beacon light and stuff. Keep an eye out. Maybe somebody will post it. But otherwise, hope you enjoyed seeing this little bit of a excursion train that I created. Hopefully I can come across some good Southern streamlined cars to go with this set of E8s, but until then, the excursion train's pretty neat, I think. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider subscribing. If you have any questions or comments, post below. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.